I want to talk about why some countries are going to be doing great. Well, I was talking about this in the 2019 psychic predictions, and I said that Russia is going to do great, and there are some reasons for it. Other countries too, like Lebanon or let's see, Iran, China, Africa, they're going to do great with the technological riches that are coming our way. I was kind of looking at the Russian media. They were saying that they had made these new jets, super jets 100, and they were selling like hotcakes. Many Middle Eastern countries are lining up to buy these super jets, and if you kind of sit down and study the specs for Superjet 100, or there is another one too, you'll see that these jets are not particularly better jets, better passenger planes than what the United States already makes, which is 787. Well, 787 probably is more advanced than the Russian jets. They have smart materials and all this and that. But there is a reason why many countries, they don't want to buy American products or American exports, and the Americans are having harder time doing business elsewhere. There are some hidden reasons, and one of those videos was talking about that Iran was buying the super jets, but they were telling the Russians, hey, we don't want you putting 10% of the parts are from Western countries that support United States sanctions. Then down the line, we're gonna have a problem if the Americans persist on sanctioning us some more. So these new jets will be also very hard to maintain. So what the company did, and they went ahead and first of all rebranded the name of Superjet to something else, and then also I think they were trying to get rid of those parts that the Americans or countries that support Americans, they make those parts so that they won't have any problems in the future. So you kind of see where I'm going with these ideas. I was also listening to Putin's New Year address, and he was saying that, I was listening to translation. He was saying that, being mindful or caring about the troubles other people are having, like Iranians or Palestinians. They have trouble stopping Israeli jets from coming in and carpet bombing, or the American long-range jets coming in and carpet bombing Afghanistan from faraway bases, or the Americans interfering in Venezuelan internal affairs and taking the proceeds that would have gone to the government and giving it to the opposition. Direct interference. We're being mindful of that and helping other nations that have very serious problems. Or could this be good for business? Could the Russians are selling all these anti-aircraft systems like S-300, S-400 everywhere, in India, in Iran, who knows, the Lebanese. A lot of these countries, they don't even want anybody to know that they are buying these systems, because they don't want to get sanctioned. They don't want the Russians to get sanctions, or the countries that want to do business with them. Then I also saw that EU is instituting different monetary mechanisms to be able to do business with Iran or other countries, no matter what kind of sanctions the United States imposes. Well, if you were an accountant and you were adding the numbers, see that actually how much business are we losing? How much our products and our services and our employees, the, 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 they are not getting this business that would have otherwise come in to us. How many 787s we didn't sell? We didn't, because people are afraid of us. They're afraid of us sanctioning them or overthrowing their government, or they're afraid of new cons. How much of this business was totally lost? This could be a staggering number of money. Then the other loss that's due to Americans is all the monies that the Trump and every other administration promised the U.S. military, which is like an investment that's just going out into the atmosphere, just disappearing into military ventures, into Space Corp or secret black budget. There's a lot of money. Already we spend more money than anybody else, and we want to make it more. But actually, when I was trying to put out this video or make it, I was thinking in the back of my head, why do you even want to help these idiots? Let them just simmer in the juices, and they will just like implode. Their economy is already imploding. Or just let it go. Let them do what the stuff that they are doing that's completely destroying U.S. economy, and let's do some more. And if my enemy just had a massive heart attack, then so what? But the reason I put out some of these ideas and videos, because even though I don't really like this system or this empire that's falling on its face, I am like a third cousin. I have like family here. My son was born here and grew up, and then also I have family in Iran, other countries that the United States completely torments. Then kind of say, hey, let me just at least put these ideas out. Maybe somebody will kind of be mindful of it and use them. If I was like a super real estate developer, okay, then I would like go in the middle of some oceans that the ocean bottom is not very far from the surface of the water. So I would dredge up this and make this island out of the dredge stuff that comes out. And I would take a copy of like good companies that the Americans have, like Disney or Boeing or good companies that make products that the world wants or would buy if it wasn't sanctioned. Then I would make this island totally independent of the United States and all these idiot new cons, and make the island that was just made in the middle of nowhere, okay, have independent foreign policy and independent economic relations with many other countries. I bet you within like 5 years or 2 years, this pile of shit in the middle of the ocean would be doing great business with everywhere. Just like the Russians. I don't think the Russians are getting as much of the benefit of the foreign trades that they could. Well, the other stuff that kind of comes into like purview, I was you know how the older bachelors like me, they're desperate to find a wife or women. So I was told my mother, hey, why you don't look for an Azeri chick? You know, even though I'm 59, I want someone that's like 35, pretty and very faithful, and hopefully poor, so I could kind of give you money to bring her here. I want a nice young wife. So she's been trying, and then I was talking to her. She's saying that like they find here and there women, and then what happens is usually like the father comes in and says, "No, I don't want my daughter in faraway places," and because of all this animosity, well, they wouldn't say it explicitly that hey, this is the case. All this animosity and all this trouble that the U.S. government has been putting Iranians into, and also many other worries for money, stability of a future family, whatever. I don't want to make future investments into a place or someone in a place that's the cause for all these crippling sanctions, all these going back and forth and bickering and fighting, and a country that we are being constantly mindful that hey, maybe we are the next Afghanistan. You follow what I'm saying? So even though things seems right economically at this moment here, because of all the stuff that we are doing here to other countries, we are not getting any future business. We are not getting people showing an interest in this place, wanting to come and visit Disney and bringing foreign money and foreign expertise into here, investing it in here. Then the other part of the conversation with my mom is like she was telling me how come you live like in a room, why you don't get a bigger place, you have income, you're giving us money, how come you don't invest this money and buy a house or this and that. So but she doesn't know my feeling is that there is so much BS going on with the prices of the house. I don't know, like 2 months down the road, there will be like a 50% collapse in real estate values, and there is so much fraud in the price of the home or in the real estate market, whatever I get, that I really don't know what I'm doing, and there is so much going on financially with mortgages that I'm mindful of whatever kind of investments I want to make. And the way I sit here and look at things, it would be really better if the money wasn't spent on any kind of real estate, even rentals. You follow what I'm saying? It follows a trajectory from U.S. militarism and also fraud in financial markets and fraud in the real estate values, fraud and animosity and warfare and sanctions that are seeping into all kinds of industries, and they're destroying the economy in so many ways that she's not here, she doesn't see this stuff, and she's saying, hey, you're being silly, why you don't invest in this thing? But on the same plane, you see that all around her and all around me, people are stop investing in the United States, coming here and buying the products or planes and buying our tickets to come and visit Disney. You see how damaging all this stuff is that the new cons and the U.S. military is engaging in, does not want in any shape and form to stop even or reduce this stuff. Then what we can look at the other empires that have collapsed and their failures. You see, like in the end times of Ottoman Empire, they became they were very uneasy because the British were coming in and helping anybody that didn't like the Ottomans, making governments, overthrowing portions of the Ottoman Empire. For example, they were helping the Armenians, they were helping certain Arab regions to get independence. You know, they were chopping up the empire. They were getting rid of the government, helping the local henchmen, you know, become kings. They did something similar. They helped Reza Shah, even though he was a fascist in Iran, and he came in and did all this. They were undermining the local governments, just like what the United States is doing in Venezuela. Undermine the sovereignty of another country. So what happened? These civil wars broke out in the Ottoman Empire, and because the government was extremely insecure, they committed genocide. This can happen here. This can happen in the United States or in Venezuela. I anticipate very serious blowbacks in the United States. Just the stuff that they have been doing the last month, they gave the income that was due to the Nicaragua, to the Venezuelan government, to their opposition, and recognized them, and then said, "Oh, we're gonna help you with the military too." And well, sit down and add up all these monies that the loss in the income, and also the money that the U.S. has to chug out to its military, or to foreigners that are willing to go and fight with the Venezuelans. And it also cascaded in all kinds of ways. Now the Venezuelan government is saying that we will quash any kind of dissent, any kind of uprising, and I don't know. I hope it doesn't turn into a civil war or a very serious blowback in the United States. I don't think that the new cons would care, or would. What if, you know, a Russian nuke bomber came in and nuked Washington D.C.? Probably a lot of the bourgeoisie and wealthy, they would probably survive. They're not all in Washington D.C. They're just the politicians over there. But hey, we don't care. We'll do some more of nuking ourselves. Just the whole thing is so retarded. And another thing that happens when people of the empire, when they know that the thing is falling apart, they use their brain, which is like these cells that are here, make good decisions. Is that the British maintained good relations with former colonies, that they maintained their banking system, they maintained their diplomatic ties. It was not violent or militant or interfering in their affairs, but it was simply a secure foreign presence that was not interfering in them, that they could resort to if they they had problems with their banking system. They had problems paying their employees. They had access to foreign capital. They had access to secure modes of diplomatic negotiations. They could resolve their problems with neighbors because they were the British. They knew both of them, and they could go through back channels and negotiate things without having to fire a shot. So what happened after the World War II is that the British economy, the British banks, the British aerospace, ships, companies that transport goods, they all prospered, and as if their empire just went on. But in fact, politically, the empire was dead. But it didn't have to be. The British weren't dead. They kept on going with their lives and with their income. Well, things can happen like that with the United States if we stop interfering with all these stupid places and focus more on doing business and keeping our people from getting killed and blowing our money into space or into foreign ventures. Then our companies here would become stronger and would make better income. All these monies that are going to buy Russian superjets and Russian S-300s and Chinese replica of F-15s, these are big monies too, right? There's a big world out there. That money could come back, or a portion of it would come back here, right? Anyhow, thank you very much for being in my YouTube channel. Please subscribe and leave your comment. Thanks.